Coker, and I'm here with
Alyssa,
and we are here at Lynch's River Park, and we are going to be interviewing
Jonathan Coker
about the events during the flood.
Our first question is, if you were informed of the flooding, would you leave or would you start to prepare for the flood?
Well, definitely you'd want to prepare. You'd want to prepare your property, your home, get your animals out. If you have any pets at home or any pets outside, you'll want to take care of them before you leave your property.
Second question is, do you turn off all electronic things or things that use power?
Absolutely, absolutely. You turn off just throw your breakers, turn all the power off in the house before you leave the house.
Do you buy all the milk, bread, and eggs that you can?
Well, it seems to be a tradition in South Carolina that anytime we have a weather event that we all go out and we all buy the eggs and the milk and the bread. That way we'll be stocked up, because 2 days later it's usually gone. But that seems to be the norm.
How would you survive if you were separated from your family?
Well, I guess if you were in a flood, you try to seek high ground. You want to stay out of the water as best you can to, at least try to stay warm and try to reconnect with your family.
Do you help your pets during the flood?
If it's possible, yeah, you got to help your pets. You got to help your animals. That's everybody loves their pets. We don't want anything to happen to our animals, so of course we're going to try to protect them.
Do you take a horse or a car through the floodwaters?
Well, I would suggest neither one. If the water is moving water, they say that anything over 6 inches can take you off your feet. And I believe that would go for a horse as well. Probably take a horse down. You don't want to go through moving water anytime there's a flood.
Do you abandon your pet's home and car?
Well, I would leave the car. If life depended on it, I'd leave the car, but I would try to take my pets with me. Some pets can survive on their own better than others, but I would try to take them with me.
Where would you stay if you abandoned your home?
Well, I guess if you didn't have family around, you'd maybe go to a hotel or a shelter. A lot of times during these flood situations, these bad times, the counties and the state, they'll set up shelters for people to go stay in and provide with food and water necessities.
How high did the water rise?
In some places, the water was higher than others, but I know that on this river, the water actually covered the highway. It went up above the road. All this area here was underwater during the peak of the flood. In some places, apparently the Department of Transportation, they measure from the bottom of a bridge to the riverbed, and in some places the riverbed was eroded away over 25 foot more than it was originally.
Okay. And do you know how many shelters there are in South Carolina?
Well, there's not a certain number of shelters. We had 3 set up in our county by Sunday, and I'm not sure how many they had here, but the shelters are set up according to where the problem's at.
Did any dams break?
There were a few reported around the state, small dams, no major dams. The water on the major lakes it's controlled, and it was released in time to salvage the dam.
How many people were killed during the flood?
I'm not sure of the particular number. I know there were some fatalities. I know we had a girl with the National Guard. They were in an accident. They drove off a bridge that was washed out, and she broke both her legs and had to be medevaced out of there. She was hurt pretty bad, but I'm not sure of the number of fatalities.
How many houses were flooded?
Several houses were flooded. Some were just total loss. But some were just, minor damage. Fortunately, some of them, can be repaired, but there were several that were just totally gone.
And do you know how Santee was affected?
Yeah, the lake came up several feet in a few hours, and the spillways were opened, and the Santee River was flooded all the way down to Charleston.
Okay, and do you possibly know the high and low pressure during the flood, or the temperatures?
Fortunately, the temperatures were pretty moderate, and it was fairly warm. And most of us, we were out, we were soaking wet, so with the temperatures being as high as they were, we were a lot better off as we would have been if it would have been cold.
Hi, my name is Michaela Cracknell. I'm 19 years old. I'm a student at Francis Marion University, and I've worked at the Environmental Discovery Center here at Lynch's River County Park for about 4 months.
Our first question is, how did the flood affect the wildlife?
So the flood affected the wildlife in different ways here. Obviously, any type of weather thing that's different from the normal is going to affect wildlife. So our plants kind of got over flooded. A lot of the birds kind of took to going higher up in the trees to get away from the water. We don't have a lot of mammals in the park. Deer and stuff obviously fled away from the park and stuff like that. But for the most part, just the wildlife is going to react in any way that they would in a weather situation like that.
How high was the water during the flood?
The water was just under 20 feet. So our river usually sits at about 6 feet. That's normal for this time of year. The river will sit at about 6 feet. And during the flood, we went up to just about 20.
Did you have to evacuate?
Yeah, so we have 2 superintendents on the park, and they both live here at the park, and they did have to evacuate their houses for 3 days.
Did the park suffer any damages?
The park suffered a few damages. Some of our trees fell. Some of our entire landing went underwater. We have an arbor outside where a lot of people have weddings and stuff like that. We had some significant damage to that. And even we had to do some work on our duck boxes that we have that sit on the trees. A lot of the duck boxes got swept away. A lot of our bird houses got swept away, and the canopy walk considered a little bit of damage.
Where we can go to lay the troubles down, eating your soul. I know a place where mercy flows. Take the stains, make it whiter than snow. Like a tide, it is rising up deep inside a current that moves and makes you come alive. Living water that brings the dead to life. Oh, oh, we're going down to the river, down to the river, down to the river to pray. Let's get washed by the water, washed by the water, and rise up in amazing grace. Let's go down, down, down to the river. Let's go down, down, down to the river. I've seen it move in my own life. Took me from dusty roads into paradise. All of my dirt, all of my shame, drown in the streams that have made me born again. Like a tide, it is rising up deep inside a current that moves and makes you come alive.